everyone for staying with us. The governor of Ebonyi State, Mr. Umahi, presented the 2023 budget of the state with an estimate of 139 billion naira. The budget is tagged the budget of divine mandate, consolidation, and continuity. The governor presented the budget at the Assembly Complex in Abakaliki, Umahi. The governor said that the budget will prioritize health, education, agriculture, infrastructure, and human capital development. Governor Dave Umahi is a guest tonight on the program, and he joins me live from Abakaliki, the capital of Ebonyi State. Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for joining us tonight. That is your very last time to bow in front of the State Assembly to present a budget. That is going to be perhaps your 8th budget, if I'm not mistaken, as governor of Ebonyi State. Now, that probably will give you some feelings. But one thing that came out for me is that there is a reduction in the cap, in the estimate of the budget of this year in Ebonyi State compared to the budget of last year. Is there any reason why that reduction has happened?
Yeah, thank you, Shehu. Thank you, viewers. Yeah, Shehu, we have a reduction about 4.13%, reduction, compared to 2022 budget. You see, since we state joined SafeTAS in from 2019, the World Bank program and the federal government, precisely Federal Ministry of Health, Finance, it's been a process in a way there is transparency and honesty in budgeting process, meaning to say that you don't just start putting figures. You have to do your budgeting such that the expected total receipt will almost be equal to the budget expenditures. And there is a prize we usually win under SafeTAS by just simply doing this. And that's what we've done, taking a knowledge on the performances in terms of capital receipts from 2022. So we decided to scale down those receipts we know will definitely not come in 2023.
You look at the budget for education. Is there any reason why there's that significant reduction? I mean, the number is actually for those who have criticized that budget, said that's a very ridiculous percentage of your budget that's gone into education.
15% of our budget. We had 15% of our budget. In 2022, we have 25%, 25.5%, 103%, projected, of course, to December 31st this year. And so this year, we now have 15%, for education. For me, it is consolidation. It's budget of consolidation and continuity. So there are a couple of things.
Governor, let me allow you to also speak about what you will probably think could be the legacy you'll be leaving behind. A few infrastructure projects here and there, but also some of these you have also borrowed some money from. Would you say you're leaving a very big burden for the next government?
Point of correction, Shehu, it's not few infrastructure. We've turned Ebonyi State to a construction site. Even 5 hours, we won't be able to mention all the infrastructure we put in place in Ebonyi State. For me, the greatest legacy, as an administration, one, the confidence we've instilled in our people. The confidence that our people can boldly say, look, I'm from Ebonyi State, by reason of the transformation that has taken place in Ebonyi State. The second one is that I've made more business people, I've made more contractors, I've made more engineers, than the number of politicians I've made. The infrastructure is given, is one of the things that is a must you have to do. Education is a must, health is a must. But these things are very important because when you build the people, then they will build the nation. So these are my legacies. People will be thinking of talking about the international, airport. I'll be talking about the famous David Umahi University. I'll be talking about, the mall. I'll be talking about the concrete roads of over 1,000 kilometers of 8 inches concrete. No, my legacies should be on human, capital development.
But one of the reasons why people will perhaps be interested in how you spend the money of people of Ebonyi State is not just only the money you spend, the infrastructure you've done, but how you have gone about it. Now, you look at it, there is a rise in the debt profile of the state, about 39.62%. The budget of that state, as at from the Debt Management Office, as at end of March this year, is about 41 billion. And there are old pensions of people of Ebonyi State. In all of this, you're building numerous infrastructure projects. I mean, what is responsible for the priorities?
I'm saying that you should be giving us kudos because Ebonyi State, in terms of debt profile, is the least indebted state in the entire Southeast. Ebonyi State is also the third, least indebted state in the entire nation of 36 states and FCT. And I think we've done very well. So what are the facilities? We've only been able to assess a facility of 8 billion, towards our airport development. And that's basically, the rest of the loans were loans that, we inherited from the past administration, like the loans on aid, the loans on, flood control measures, and so on and so forth. So people will be expecting that we have borrowed. We have not borrowed. We've done very well in terms of managing the resources of the state.
But were you making moves to borrow more before you leave office?
I don't know. If there is need to borrow more, infrastructure is a catalyst in the development of any nation or any state. And so if I need to borrow more, I need to know what I'm doing with it. But it's my desire, and I'm very conscious of that. I hate borrowing. And I'm very conscious to make sure that I don't leave, debt profile, for incoming administration. Rather, I'm going to leave wealth because, my faith says that it's a good man, a good father, leaves wealth, for his children. So I'm not going to leave debt. Even the one that I borrowed, this 8 billion, I'm making every effort through the SEFTA's, gains to pay back that 8 billion before I leave office.
So now, the question now is, if you're borrowing, whatever policy decision that you are making as a governor, what the priorities, and I asked that earlier, in your decision either to borrow, to build infrastructure, or, where do you place the pensions of the people of Ebonyi State? There are several months of old pensions.
We'll be talking about, pension and gratuity, and, pension for the balance of that. My administration has not owed any pension or gratuity. We have paid, a lot of backlog of pension and gratuity when we came on board. And so the balance of pension and gratuity in Ebonyi State at the state level is 3 billion. We met backlog of pension and gratuity in 2015 when we came on board. And what we did as a priority was to use our Paris Club to offset over 70% of this debt. Where we have 3 billion, for our pension and gratuity, and that would be, to completely pay off, the debt.
So there are plans to pay them. So they should be, yes. The good news is that they should be expecting that they will get their payment. It's captured in the budget. That's what you're telling us tonight, Governor.
Sure, it's in the budget. And that's why you have the budget of Ministry of Finance to be 19%, which is the highest. And what do we intend to do? To pay off, the 8 billion loan we took from UBA, and then to pay off the 3 billion, of pension and gratuity, and to pay off about 3.5 billion of retention fees to contractors. And so we have that intention. Not only that, we also have the intention, to give a kind of allowances to every civil servant in Ebonyi State, for Christmas package.
Now, before I move into politics, the issue of the 41 billion or more debt burden on the state, this is what you'll be leaving for the next administration. And that's going to be a difficult one for whoever becomes the next governor of Ebonyi State. You regret this circumstance that you probably will be leaving behind, isn't it?
I don't understand the aggregation of 41 billion, but don't forget that we made more than 41 billion when we came on board. But let me explain to you, the circumstance of the so-called 41 billion. We came on board and we met the Abakaliki flood control. That is, about 12 billion naira project initiated by the past administration. Of course, we inherited it and we've been offsetting it. We also have, our loan with the African Development Bank for the development of 198 kilometers of ring road, which is very important, cutting across 88 local governments of Ebonyi State. This is not a loan that you pay off one day, it's staggered, over a number of years. So we made these loans, we've reduced these loans, and then the only loan we can say we took is the 8 billion, which is towards our airport, construction. And so we are very happy with our debt profile. And these debts are not debts that you have to repay, today. So this is very important. I think you should be commending us, for being very prudent in our resource management, knowing fully well, the meager resources you have in IGR, knowing fully well our place in terms of FAC allocation. And yet, we were so disciplined as not to borrow compared to the number of infrastructure we put in place. We are very proud of our performance, and I'm sure that God is also very proud and happy with us.
I would have loved to delve into rice production and what has become of that, how much of innovation you have been able to put or not, the criticism coming on whether or not the state have been creative. But let me shoot my final question on the program tonight. There is a 5 million flat rate for campaigns in schools and market squares in Ebonyi State. I mean, this is an election nearing period which a lot of political parties are going out to canvass for vote. And the opposition is already crying, saying, look, this is a form of intimidation. And he says, they are saying it is unconstitutional. Do you fear that your party may not be able to retain power, knowing full well that you left the PDP for the APC, and those who are saying that the APC doesn't have as much ground in Ebonyi State? Explain to us this feeling of fear and intimidation that some of your people say they feel, politically speaking. Why do they feel so, Governor Umahi? Are you giving them a feeling of that? What kind of atmosphere is being set in Ebonyi State, politically speaking?
If somebody tells you that there is another political party in Ebonyi State apart from APC, you should ask the person to shut up. In the sense that, what I have done in Ebonyi State, you cannot controvert that. I'm very proud of what APC has done in Ebonyi State, and you cannot, take on that. There is none of them that is capable of taking on that. And by 22nd of this month, we are going to have a rally. And I'm announcing that no support should come from any other state of Southeast, only Ebonyi people. And I'm going to put in that field 50,000 Ebonyans to come and welcome our presidential candidate. And that is the strength of APC, just by 24 hours call. So there is no opposition party in Ebonyi State, it's only APC all the way. Now, come to this thing. Exactly.
They are accusing you, Governor, of intimidation and the fear tactics.
I'm coming to that here. I'm coming to that. Nobody is intimidating anybody. I'm not the first governor that is making an executive order, banning without permission the use of schools, the use of marketplaces for rallies without permission. So let me put the record very straight. What we have said is that if there is a boarding school, especially female boarding school, we don't want, political rallies to take place there, because there have been in the past, cases of raping the girls, in the name of political, rallies. And so what we have said is, look, if you want to use any of the primary schools or secondary schools, please, we would like you to take permission from the Ministry of Education. And we said, Ministry of Education, you cannot withhold assent. What do we mean? What we mean is that a political party that is going to, including APC in Ebonyi State, that is going to hold rally in schools or marketplaces, must have means, of passing, west they must have means of cleaning up the premises when they finish. They must have means that if they destroy the school infrastructure, they have to replace it. So we have not banned anybody from use of this premises. We are simply saying it to be moderated, and that is what we have done.
Governor Dave Umahi, unfortunately, we must terminate here at this junction. We've been interrupted so much by the breaking the technical connection that we've had with you, but albeit it's a very good conversation. Thank you so much for the opportunity to maybe explain some of your decision in government and some of your policies. Thank you so much indeed, and I wish you the very best. Should you have the time in Abuja one of these days, please call in our studio and we'll be happy to host you on the program. Thank you so much indeed, Governor Dave Umahi.
It would be bad, if I finish without your coming to Ebonyi State. Because if you are here, you will not be asking some of these questions. So I welcome you to come and have, first, class information of what we've done.
All right.
Thank you, Chairman.
We'll see about that. Thank you so much, Governor Dave Umahi.